I got commissioned to make a VTube model. Those things that you see these little weebs do all the time. Use an avatar instead of showing themselves as a means to keep their anonymity. So, yes, like I said earlier, I got commissioned to make one. What could possibly go wrong? To kick things off, I actually had been commissioned to do this by Chori. You have seen other commissions that I've done videos on in the past. I did the sketching work offline. This was based upon one of the characters that I've actually done in the past. The one with the Christmas outfit on is based upon this character. They're the same character, but just different outfits at the given time. After I confirmed everything with them, I made sure that I had all the pieces all in different orders so I can be able to like move them around when it comes to actually creating the VTube avatar in the future, which you guys will see shortly of how I was working on it as such. But before that, I had to do all the line art and inking and everything, which I again separated to multiple pieces just to make sure it's easier for me to like control the individual pieces if I need to. There were a lot of working parts to this. Some things I had to go back over and like refix. I even drew the feet. Even though you don't see the feet, I drew the feet. You won't see the feet because they're covered up by like the boots and stuff like that, but the feet are there. So if whatever reason, I made this so the base model itself was able to be manipulated however I really wanted to be, and then I had the clothes layer over it, and then the clothes layer would follow like the base model or vice versa underneath it. So if I needed to ever like change an outfit in the future, or if they ever wanted to commission an outfit change or something like that, then I can do that relatively easily while still having the base model. In the future, I do change one thing that I didn't do here. Here I didn't separate the ears from the head, so it gets really weird to a certain extent when I am like rigging it, but I go back and fix it later on. You'll see again in the future of the video of what I mean by that. But overall, it was like a very nice aspect, like breaking this all down, having different working parts. It did take a while, but overall I do believe it was worth it. I do make some other mistakes that I will talk about in a bit, but just right now I just really liked how this was turning out. I actually did do this over on twitch.tv/EldenDraws. I did the coloring that you're seeing right now, the coloring in the line art over there. I was supposed to do the clothing over on Twitch too, but I decided to do that offline just because sometimes I just don't feel like going live and I just want to work on stuff in my own time. But yeah, so that's that. Now, after I finished doing all the clothing and stuff like that off of camera, I actually started doing the rigging over in Live 2D. Live 2D is kind of finicky. There are some things that just like break or take forever to like render out or to process what is going on, but after you get the hang of it, it isn't the hardest thing to do. I did follow a tutorial on aspects of what to do. The knowledge overall was very helpful, but there were aspects of the tutorial that I don't necessarily agree with, which I will later talk about. But overall, it was a very helpful tutorial and insightful. I will have the tutorial linked down below in the description, right below that like button and that subscribe button, which you should definitely do. You should definitely subscribe to this channel for future content, because I am going to be trying to post a lot more than I did last year. But I digress about that. Rigging, it was more of like it's making a 2D model. I don't think anything art related is theoretically hard. It just takes time. And that's what you're rewarded for. The more time you put in, the more used to you are to doing those artistic skills, and Live 2D is one of those skills that you just need to put time into. The more and more I like messed about with stuff, the more I started to understand it. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't like hiccups along the way. A lot of things broke, and it just was a headache at time to time. But I digress. In a second, you'll see me testing out the rigging in real time. But before that, great news! Did you ever want to have your own personal piece custom created to your liking by me, yours truly, Elden L. Glover, aka EldenDraws, better known on this channel? Then today is your day. Head over to EldenDraws.com/commissions and you can actually put an order in for a commission from me. All the rules and everything stipulated and terms and services are there. Everything step by step, how it's gonna go, how things go down, and what you need to do. So head over there right now. Once again, EldenDraws.com/commissions. If you want to support me, you could get a piece of artwork out of it at the same time. And I could possibly make more content out of it. So once again, head over there to EldenDraws.com/commissions to give me your money. I mean, 40 and slip. Support the channel. For whatever reason, it will not let me utilize my actual camera, but it will let me use my Logitech webcam. For whatever reason, the feed just doesn't go through. I don't know why, and I don't feel like messing about to actually try to find out either. But so far, just this basic rig. Haven't done anything insane. It's just testing the head turning and everything. So I have the capture on. You can see right here that it's capturing through my webcam and not my camera. But yeah, so turn my head to the left. It goes left, or turn my head to the... so it's not mirrored. That's kind of odd. Am I able to do mirror symmetry? Yes. There we go. Okay. Of course, I'm gonna have the hat and everything later on, but this is just the test. That's cool. Now we go back to actually editing since I know this works. Now with this rigging, this part of the video, this rigging, I was trying to do the angles. So when you turn your head, you can see the character turning also. So it's more motion or range of motion in the face. So it's not just stagnant, because I do know certain individuals like to keep their model or their VTube model like a little bit more simple. So when they talk, they just do like a different animation that like fades in and fades out. But I wanted to actually have like something that is more characteristic, like has more character to it instead of just having those stagnant ones. I did do a lot of mistakes while creating this effect, this head turning effect, which I go back and later on and fix. But it was a good learning experience. That I shouldn't do it that way. Essentially speaking, there are a bunch of aspects that I did that I go back and fix because it doesn't like look the way how I originally wanted it to look. I even added like a bunch of like physics and stuff that I later on change, just because again it wasn't how I wanted it to be. One of the aspects of creating the V2 model was like having like the eyes blink and stuff like that move with you, and that was the most tedious one in my opinion due to the way I draw my eyes, and I didn't separate like the eyelashes from the main eye thing. It was just an overall nightmare, but all in all I got it working. I do go back again and change it like I do for some other things. Fun update for the night. I've been at this for 15 hours, so this is great. One thing I do need to add is the back of the head. There was a issue I was having with the eyes earlier, because I don't know, for the whites of my eyes, it was just, I had a feature where it would like, if you were surprised or whatever, it would like shrink the eyes, but just the whites of my eyes were causing it to constantly shrink and stuff. So there's that. So I had to take it out, but for the most part I really like how it lost me. It is dark as shit right now. For the most part it lost me again. Let me turn on the light real quick. It works pretty well, so you guys can see. Shift the head, eyebrows, they work. Blinking works. I have it on cursor, but you can have it on that. It does like shake a bit. It doesn't always track my eyes. You can see right now that it's tracking my eyes. fairly well, but it doesn't always actually track my eyes. It usually goes to like the whites of my eyes for some reason. But yeah, it's all working. It's breathing animation too, so you'll see it like moving up and down ever so slightly. The thing I really need to add is the back of the head, because as of right now, it looks very flat, and that's because it doesn't have the back of the head. And then also I need to add the mouth mechanism, which that will be done when I wake up. The mouth mechanism first, and then I'll see what to do about the back of the head. Yeah, when you turn it, it looks very, very flat when you turn your head. Up, it didn't even, it lost me again. It keeps on going to over here. It thinks that's a face, which is kind of creepy, not gonna lie. But yeah. I wish the eye tracking worked with my eyes. I don't know if it will work with Troy. I might see if it works for him, but if not, I could disable it again. Where if he gets surprised, it shrinks, because it was always just had like the shrinked pupil, so it looked like she's kind of crazy instead of having like a relaxed face. Yeah, I really need the back of the head. I really need the back of the head. Looks very weird when I turn my head. But yeah, the rest though, all the rest, it's doing good when it tracks. All right, well, yeah, like I said, been working on this for 15 hours. Didn't really eat anything. I ate like hot dogs at like 11 hours ago or some shit like that, or 12 hours ago or some shit. No, I think it's 14 hours ago I ate hot dogs, and then I was munching on like some chips. But yeah, I'm tired. I need to go to bed. Let me go to bed, and I will see you guys in the next little installment when I'm working on this again. So it should be done in the next few clips, so whenever I wake up. But yeah, this has actually been very fun. I enjoyed this more than I thought I would. Just little things. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to bed. Bye-bye. So on the next day, I decided to create a orb that would go in the back of the head, acting as like the back of the head to give him more of a 3D-ish effect. This kind of worked, but didn't at the same time. I did this because I didn't want to mess with the back of the hair any more than I already did. And I was hoping that this would cause it to give it more of that 3D-ish effect that I was looking for. It didn't really. So I had to go back and like edit certain things. Even with like the ears, I had to go back and edit certain things to make sure it looked like more 3D-ish. But again, alas, it didn't really fix what I was looking for. So I was just trying to go with it and just try to edit over and over again to see if I could like fix other aspects of the piece to make it seem or work the way I wanted it to, in more of a realistic-ish type of way, because this whole goal is to make something that's believable, that doesn't look like ass, essentially. And what I was doing at the moment was just trying to fix things over and over again, with all that already messed up. So it was just a nightmare. Like, once you mess up in Live 2D, it's a nightmare to go back and fix everything over and over, like, because everything is like connected to a certain point. So just trying to fix things is just such a hassle and a huge consumption of time, because you have to do for like every angle. Every little angle can cause something else to break if you didn't do it correctly the first time, which I've learned now that you don't want to do. Well, I did a thing. Yeah, did a thing. It's a thing that took hours and hours and hours, but I did the thing. And it works, which is always a plus. So, you might be asking yourself, Elden, if this is really the end of the video, why did you pause the video, and why is there so much time left in said video? But yeah, well, since I know you just checked the video, since you're already down there, why don't you give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content? Well, to be honest, that's because it isn't the end. So, me being me and me having this thing called, what is it called again? OCD when it comes to my artwork, made me rethink everything that I just did. So you know what I did? When I finished it, I redid it and redid it differently actually to make things better. So let's jump right back into it, I guess. One thing that I didn't really clarify is I pretty much started this all over from scratch, and I didn't let Chori know. After I originally sent him the piece that I completed, I was like, all right, I'm gonna fix some things, but I didn't say what I was gonna do. I literally started all of the rigging from scratch and went back in and edited a bunch of the actual still images that I created inside again, just to recreate this rigging and do it the way that I envisioned it to be, and not the way that I was trying to learn from the original tutorial. I actually did start watching another tutorial. Both of them will be linked down below. They both have their own merits, so they'll be linked down below. But yeah, he has no idea that I started this all from scratch again. So all of those hours that I put in, and I mean hours that I put in for the original one, I just pretty much scrapped it because I didn't like how it turned out. Even though he seemed kind of like enthused with how the original one turned out, I was like, nah, this shit's ass in my books. It's ass. So I got to redo it. So Chori, I want you to comment down below, wowie kablowie, Batman, if you actually watch this portion, because that was a lot of work. It was my own selfish need to get things the way how I ideally wanted it, but overall it was a lot of work. I really enjoy how this whole process actually taught me like doing things in like motions in like groups and stuff like that to enable me to get one overarching thing to work completely in how you want it. It also taught me that the whole group is the overall ending goal. Even if you work on different parts of a piece, you still want to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, because that individual part and piece that you're working on constantly might not even matter or might break something. So work as a entire overarching thing instead of individual aspects to try to get things done, and not really pinpoint on like certain details, because certain details will not even matter in the long run sometimes. So this is the old one. Oh, this is the old one. Let's get a see, like things popping in and out, the ear popping in and out. The new one doesn't have all the body motions and stuff like that yet. I will be adding that. But I do want to showcase this one. Okay, so like the nose, it pops kind of too. The ears pop. The different things are popping. So with the 6.0, things should not be popping. All right, so auto setup. Okay. See, why is that white? Why did that like export as white? And why did that glitch out right there too? So I gotta figure out why that export is happening like that. Yeah, why the export is happening like that. All right, it's still doing that weird white texture bullshit. So I'm going to open an older version. Oh, yesterday when I was working on the piece, I was saying how I was having trouble with it because I couldn't find like the thing that was causing the back pieces to go white. It happened to be the actual white piece of like my hair, or not my hair, the golden belt. Let me show you guys what I mean actually. So it happened to be the white shine that I put here. So when the character moves, the shine stays in the same place and yada yada yada. But it was causing everything else to come white, and it didn't show up because in the text modeling thing. So if you hit Control T, it'll bring up the textures atlas. And within the texture atlas, because the atlas background itself was white, I couldn't see it. So I had to actually, so it would be behind like this stuff and causing it to go white. So I had to actually drag it over here to this page. So it's on a different texture atlas, and then it wasn't covering up anything. So that's the reason why it was, I was having issues with that. But now I'm working on hair physics. So let's jump into it. I'm trying to finish this today. So hopefully I can do that, knock on wood, just to get this out. Because I have to start editing the video too. So yeah, let's get this done. Right here, you see me adding and messing around with like physics that I had previously put into place. just making sure that everything is working correctly. I did take out some other aspects that I did previously on the one that I made before this, the rigging I made before this, like different like hair movements and more wild movements for the tassel of the hat. And even I changed like the movements of like the arm and how like the boobs move back and forth and stuff like that too. I did some more newer techniques that made everything look nicer and come together nicer. I did the technique called glue for certain aspects to make it so like when the boobs move that certain things wouldn't like change as easily. 2 hours later, but it's done. Everything's working. I found like a bunch of bugs that I had to fix while moving around in here, so everything is working, which is great. I'm happy because I finished everything I wanted to. Like he was content, or I don't know. They seem happy about the other one, but this one is really done. Like the ears don't clip anymore. You move back and forth like it always there type of thing. Oh, good. This is good. I don't know why the hair physics aren't currently moving. One thing I do want to mention is the reason I was having trouble exporting my physics settings is because I didn't have this button checked when I was exporting my files, and if you do it separately, it doesn't work. Make sure you just have the button checked, and then when you're exporting the files, everything will work. All the physics that you put into the model will work. So all the hair physics and stuff like that when someone moves around, and like it goes back into place and stuff like that. That's what you want to make sure is checked when you're exporting so you can get all of it correctly. But yeah, so there are a few things that I want to go over that I've learned from doing this entire process, rigging it 2 different ways, technically speaking. First and foremost, I would recommend actually getting everything in your folders beforehand before you start working on stuff. Like everything that you need to put in separate things, put in those separate things if you've already done this before, or firsthand, before you start doing anything, watch the tutorials, all of them through, so you can start putting things in folders. Because if you don't do that, certain things will break because you're adding more things into those folders later on. It's not really that clear because certain tutorials are piece by piece type of tutorials where they are going over individual aspects, not really the whole thing. But you later on will figure out that if you don't have the whole thing together and you're just focusing on those singular aspects, some things will tend to break and it'll cause more work for you to go back and fix it. Like, for example, a lot of the stuff that I did to the face and the head and stuff like that, because they weren't all in the same folders or underneath the same folders or parent folders and stuff like that, and weren't selected. Like this string tassel thing kept on breaking. Certain angles would break because I didn't do the foldering first. But before that, actually, before you do the foldering, you should do the layering first. So whatever shows up before another image. So for example, I have my head. On the head, I have the nose and the mouth and everything and the ears and stuff like that. So I have the head itself, the base head and the color head, shadows and stuff like that above the ears, so the ears don't have to like be attached to anything. They can just move theoretically by themselves as they look like they're part of the head. And then I have the nose and other aspects of the face above the head, just so the layering is correct in that things don't break as much, or if they do break, you don't notice them as much. So I do want to interject. I didn't explain it correctly or as well as you probably would like to hear, but to be able to have layering or draw order in this case, you have to change this number. Everything tends to start out at 500. You change it higher for certain things to be on top, lower for things to be behind. So for example, the nose is on 503. The face is at 501, so it's above certain things that are 500. The ears are just left at 500, and then the hair back here is actually not at 500. It is, the hair back here is actually at 500, but everything else is pushed forward, so it looks like it's sitting behind things. That's what I want to explain, or what I was trying to state when I was saying make sure you have your layering correct. So it's just more of a balancing act that I've learned from doing this. I will be posting, or I will be linking to different tutorials that I used. The first half, I used one tutorial by this person here. I'll throw up on the screen. And the other half I used by this person over here. They do accomplish around the same thing, but they do have different end looking goals depending on the tutorial that you follow. And one is a little bit more in depth onto the why. The other one is a basic of, hey, set up your first type of VTuber, quote unquote. Both of them have great knowledge that you can gain from each other and different ways you can do certain things. But I digress. I just wanted to go over that little tidbit because that's what I learned, and I want to help you guys. Just make sure you do your layering first. Make sure all the layering's in correct order. Make sure that you folder and parse everything out that you know that needs to be foldered or parsed out into different segments under certain parents and stuff like that. Again, these terms, you'll learn them by watching the tutorials. So watch the tutorials entirely before you actually do something. And when you are doing the transform or the atlas, Control T for the atlas. When you're doing the atlas, texture atlas, make sure that they are nothing is overlapping. So if you have something white or something that is detached, that is a color that isn't specifically attached to an object in a certain parameter, make sure that has its own area in that it's not overlapping things, or you'll have the issue that I had earlier where the white was showing around the hair that I was having trouble with. So all in all, I really enjoyed this experience. It's very fun. Will I ever do it again? Maybe. I don't know. maybe the price has to be right though. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you want to go check out what the actual V2 model looks like in action, go over to xtroy over on Twitch. I'll have his link down below. The person that commissioned this, go over and check that out. The link's down below once again. And I will see you later. Peace.